think many of us have Gen Z children, and we firsthand see the challenges of decision making, delegating, asking them to decide on something. So if you think of your organization or your experience, so when I'm talking about decentralization, we are essentially asking the Gen Z to take a decision on my behalf to some extent. What comes to your mind when you think of that workforce?
Absolutely.
And please introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Neeraj Athalye. I work for a contract lifecycle management company called Icertis. I head their Asia Pacific and Japan business. And yes, I get a chance to work both in my previous and my current organizations with a lot of Gen Z task force. So I think what's very interesting with Gen Z and decision making is their ability to leverage technology. Today, decision making is now an augmented approach that we see. So you would have heard the concept of AI co-pilots. By nature, the word co-pilot means somebody who's not flying, but somebody who's helping you fly. So technology is helping Gen Z with inputs, insights, prompts, and methods that help them take better decisions. And organizations like ours and many others, including yours, would be trying their best how to pass on learnings from the top floor to the shop floor, or from the head office to the field, or the street. Field is even a broader word. So taking learnings from different levels of experience and sending it to the Gen Z is today possible. It earlier started with workflows, then started with analytics, then started with tracking them. Now with AI, it can do a combination of all these. What you'll also see is Gen Z, when they enter an organization, they are a lot more focused than many of us were.
I see.
They are very, very goal driven. So gamification of HR, gamification of sales, gamification of, you name any domain and people are trying to do gamification, because gamification focuses you on a goal and a certain prize at the end of achieving that goal. That keeps them focused and driven in a certain direction. So their decision making is prompted, their decision making is channelized. Their outcomes are, end of the day, decision is an outcome. So their outcomes are channelized using some of these new technologies. Now, while all this is happening, I fully agree with him. Culture is global, business is local. So you have to know how to drink beer or say how you mate in Australia to probably bending down when you're in Japan and all of that. So those are local aspects that you need to learn. But yes, there's a lot of augmentation in decision making that's happening these days. I think companies are adopting that.
So I want to pick up a couple of points you said. One is about the, you need to manage Gen Z decision making with things like gamification. But I want to open it up for all of us now. But let's explore that, because the workforce over the next 10 years or 15 years or 20 years would be Gen Z. Who are highly digital, who are highly possibly focused on instant gratification. How do you think, do you agree with that, or do you have a different view? How do we, when we're talking about decentralization, delegating, looking at somebody who is maybe 22, 25 years old, always on the phone, checking mails or posting something, managing work and play simultaneously. Do you see a challenge there? Do you see an opportunity there? Because many of you are managing multi-countries. So I'd love to hear from others. Feel free to share.
Before you go there, I think the topic or the aspect which we're talking, I think the nucleus to everything is the culture. Now, I can get Gen Zs in the organization, but my culture will not support their thought process. Either we'll kill their creativity, or they will leave us. So why I'm saying this is, I still see so there is organizations who have thought about getting Gen Zs, but how to handle them. It's like getting a women employee to work in a manufacturing organization without a washroom.
Oh, right.
So couple of decades back, if you look at, there were organizations which didn't had a female washroom and they wanted to go on a diversity journey. So first is getting your basics right, getting your culture right, and then getting to that will be rather more meaningful rather than just getting there. DEI can be a number which is published, like ESG is the next thing which is coming up. The organization will adopt it, and then they will run on this journey to get the scores to present to board or get ratings. That's fine. But as a culture, are we really embracing that change which is coming in the organization? Today, if you ask me, I also see I talk to many people, I come to know, there is a simple a policy document which says the approval is to a particular level, the DOS we talk about. But still, people will add people to approve on top of them just to save their neck, because tomorrow it should not happen. If the decision goes south, who will own this? So that cultural change has to come, because you can decentralize, but I say, okay, I decentralize everything, but the approval will come to me. You take the decision, but approval will come to me. Or I can take the decision, but I want my boss to give approval on top of this. It's both ways. So once we deal with that, maybe fear of failure you call it, or whatever it is, but we need to create that safety net, I'll say, not culture, it's a safety net along this. If you take a decision wrong, it's okay. Then decentralization will for sure play. That's what and now we can look at more of Gen Zs coming, and yes, the workforce will be Gen Zs. There is no doubt about it.